A new KXAN investigation found despite a new state law aimed at stopping surprise toll bills, TxTag customers are still experiencing problems with auto-pay billing and sky-high statements.
And all of this is an error that I didn't cause.
On this week's Inside the Investigations, investigative reporter Matt Grant and investigative producer Dalton Huey look into whether the law is working and if a new fix could be coming.
And a good morning to everybody out there. Thanks so much for joining us here on our live stream. I'm Will Dupree coming to you from the KXAN live studio, back yet again with investigative reporter Kelly Wiley. Kelly, thank you for being here for another episode of Inside the Investigations.
Thank you for having me. My favorite part of the week.
I look forward to this as well because these are really great times to have conversations about some of the stories that you and the other members of the investigative team have done. And I want to highlight the one that we're going to talk about this week because you mentioned there that our investigative reporters, Matt Grant and Dalton Huey, looked into the story. TxTag problems persist despite new surprise billing law. KXAN investigates. And we are joined this morning by investigative reporter Matt Grant. So, Matt, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. And it's nice to see you as well.
Thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure.
So, Matt, for people that don't know, we started investigating TxTag again after doing years and years ago, back in May, and this was a huge team effort. Will was investigating for us. You were investigating. I was. Our whole entire team and a lot of people from our general assignment newsroom as well were helping figure out why we continue to get so many tips about these billing issues with TxTag, especially after, they'd gone through vendor after vendor after vendor that was supposed to be helping fix these issues. I know that we talked to the head of TxDOT about how happy they were with their vendor at the time. They told us that they had issues. We found records where they called their vendor out on these issues, but they said overall they felt like things were improving. Remind us, too, of your reporting and what you found then.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that was almost a year ago now.
Right.
I mean, this was consistently the number one tip that we've been getting into our newsroom. And so we decided that this is something that needed a team effort to tackle, as you recall. So we really just started looking at this problem. Okay, we're getting so many tips, hundreds of them. What are the common themes? And so we started looking into this from every angle. We started comparing, from a solution standpoint to other toll agencies like NTTA to see what's working elsewhere, what could be improved here. One of the things that I looked at was, on this oversight committee, the Transportation Commission, who's appointed to the commission? Did they donate any money to the governor? And so we started looking at how much, money was involved, the political aspect of it. But we took a very comprehensive approach and kind of looked at this from every possible angle to try to see what's working, what isn't working, why is it not working. And almost a year later, we're still getting complaints into our newsroom about issues with TxTag.
Let's talk about that because, again, you guys might not know this, but every Wednesday we all meet as investigators and we go through the tips that you all send us. And like you mentioned, we continue to still get tips about issues that are happening with TxTag billing, but we started tracking them after our report. Tell us about that process of tracking them and what you were seeing in the aftermath of our investigation back in May.
Yeah, so we started getting, immediately after the story, we started getting a lot of emails from folks who were saying, thank you for doing the story. The same thing is happening to me. But it really kind of kicked up again later in the year. And I'd say just in the last couple months, we've received at least 24 emails that we were tracking, more than that. And so we started to say, okay, we keep getting these same themes over and over again. And so we started looking into okay, what are folks complaining about, and can we try to get them some answers? And as we started digging into this, we started looking into a law that went into effect on September 1st. And so we wanted to see, okay, this law that went into effect, is it working? Enough time's gone by. And some of the complaints that we were getting, like the guy, Brad Rule, who we profiled in our story, his complaint was that the law is not working. And we heard from other folks who said, that for them the law wasn't working. What it was, HB 2170, it went into effect September 1st, and it's meant to stop these surprise bills that people are getting, right? If you sign up for TxTag and you're on auto pay, it should be pretty seamless. You really shouldn't be getting these bills in the mail from like a CTRMA if you've got money in your account and everything set up the way it's supposed to be, right? But what people are telling us is that they're getting these sky-high bills for, in Brad Rule's case, for $150 out of the blue, he said. Some people are saying that their bills are in the thousands, even though they've got the auto pay, it should be working. And so under this new law, what's supposed to happen is toll agencies are supposed to send out a notice immediately. Text, an email, a letter, snail mail, what have you, to let drivers know there's a problem with your account. And that's supposed to prevent these surprise bills. So you're not getting a several $100 bill out of nowhere. Hey, you've been racking up fines and fees. And other folks have been telling us too, hey, we also didn't get this letter post September 1st. And so we put in a public records request with NTTA, with TxTag, to try to find out, since September 1st, how many notifications have you sent out to customers notifying them of problems with their account? Because we really wanted to look at the data and see, okay, anecdotally, some customers are telling us there's some issues. What are the numbers telling us?
Yeah, being part of your story, Matt, was looking at the effectiveness of this new surprise billing law. What did you find there?
Well, we found that TxTag had sent out roughly like 120,000 letters since the law went into effect. The NTTA sent out a bit more than that, 1.3 million. Sorry, I wanted to get the number right. 1.3 million notices, but NTTA has 6.5 million customers, more than double the amount of TxTag. So they are sending out these letters, but not everyone is getting them. And so we talked to some lawmakers. One of them, Representative Terry Wilson, he introduced a bill last session. It did not pass, but if reelected, he wants to reintroduce it again. What his bill would do is it would require a study of all the toll agencies in Texas to try to find out what's working. For example, he mentioned NTTA as an example, which we've profiled before too, as an example that seems to be working well. What are they and other agencies doing right that maybe an agency like TxTag or another agency in the state can learn from? That's what he wants to do. He wants a study of what's working, what's not working, what can we learn from that, so potentially another piece of legislation can be filed that's maybe got some solutions to it, but from an informed standpoint.
So they're whittling away at this. They're trying to figure out how they can get this law in place that is actually working in a way that's helping customers and alleviating the stress of getting a $150 or $1,000 bill in the mail. But I have to ask, after your story, are you still getting information from people, stories from people who are still experiencing the same thing, who identify with the story that your character was telling?
Yes, people, our viewers can identify with Brad Rule. Unfortunately, we've heard from folks who have said that, like in Brad's case, he said that his account was deactivated, and it deactivated last spring. And in the fall, he got this letter saying you owe $150. It had been racking up fines and fees since then. And he said, I never disconnected my account. Why would I do that? And we've heard from other people since our story aired who have told us the same thing happened to us, that TxTag said that our account was deactivated. So we're trying now to find out, we've put in a more round of public records requests, and we want to find out, is this kind of an isolated thing? Is this anecdotal? Like, we're just trying to get more information to figure out what's the problem, why it's happening, why these customers are experiencing this. But yes, to your point, more customers are reaching out to us, identifying with Brad Rule and saying the same thing's happening to us, and that's opening up a new avenue of stories that we're going to look into to try to get answers on behalf of motorists.
Yeah, maybe this leads into our next question then, and maybe the final one for our live stream. if people are still dealing with these problems and they're looking for a place to turn, what would you suggest they do?
Show us your bills. We want to see them. Email us. Send it to KXAN Report It. We've got a link to where you can send it in our article. You can also reach out to lawmakers. There are two that we mentioned in our story, at least, who are looking into TxTag-related issues, and they said that they want to hear from you as well, so we've made it easy. If you wanted to reach out to them with your story also, we've got a link on our story at KXAN on how to contact those lawmakers and us. And the more people who are experiencing problems reach out to us, this way we can track trends and themes. It helps inform our reporting as we go forward, because we can see, on an anecdotal level, and especially if you can send us your bills, we can see, what people are experiencing, so we can take then your concerns to TxTag and hopefully try to get some answers and try to see some improvements.
Matt, thank you so much. I know people are listening to this. Again, we get so many stories about this, so I know your reporting is valued in this case, and I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks so much. We just want to get answers, and so hopefully things get straightened out.
All right. Investigative reporter Matt Grant, thank you again for being with us. His story right here can be found in the investigation section on our website at KXAN.com. Kelly, that does it for another edition of Inside the Investigations. Thank you for being part of this conversation, and we have some more lined up for the weeks to come, right?
Yes. We've got definitely more on the way, and we appreciate being able to come on here and share so much. And so definitely keep your eyes peeled next Wednesday.
All right, that is Kelly Wiley. I'm Will Dupree in the KXAN Live Studio. We'll see you back here throughout the day with other updates. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.